My mother did exactly the right thing. I think it's absolutely extraordinary that any right-minded thinking parent should believe that it would have been an alternative.
Entirely acceptable, and it works. And it works really well. You don't get people whinging about it, whether it's fair or unfair.
Princess Anne's recent disclosure regarding why Prince Philip did not reside full-time with the late Queen has captured the imagination of those who follow the intricacies of royal life. Observers have long been aware that Prince Philip spent much of his later years away from the central royal residences. There were many questions about why this occurred, particularly given the profound bond he shared with his wife over the course of their historic marriage. The new insights offered by Princess Anne have cast fresh light on this living arrangement, suggesting that the reasons were more nuanced than many assumed. The notion of a long-serving consort living apart from the monarch seemed perplexing for those on the outside looking in. Many wondered if there were private tensions or complicated aspects of their relationship that were never officially acknowledged. Yet the details now emerging point less to a dramatic rift and more to a series of practical considerations, personal preferences, and the complexities of being a public figure expected to balance duty with personal well-being. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. It can be difficult for people who are not part of a high-profile institution to fully comprehend the demands placed on individuals such as Prince Philip and the late Queen. Though they shared a marital bond spanning numerous decades, their roles within the monarchy often placed them under immense scrutiny and expectation. Whenever they moved, traveled, or took part in even the most mundane activities, the public and media paid close attention. This level of visibility can be both unrelenting and exhausting. Over time, Prince Philip, known for his independent spirit, might have developed a preference for a quieter environment away from the center of royal engagements. He had been involved in thousands of official events over the years, standing by the late Queen's side through countless public appearances and ceremonial obligations. As he aged, he may have embraced an opportunity to step back from the constant demands, and Princess Anne's explanation seems to confirm that his decision to spend significant time elsewhere was more about preserving his peace and personal routine than about distancing himself from his wife. That distinction can be important, especially when considering the nature of royal marriages that must balance personal closeness with official formality. For the general public, the revelation raises interesting points about how even the highest members of royalty need time to themselves. There is often a misconception that couples in the public eye share every moment under one roof. Yet in these remarkable circumstances, living arrangements can be crafted to accommodate the unique challenges each individual faces. The late Queen had to remain near the central hub of official business, dealing with state documents and holding audiences with various officials. Prince Philip, having stepped back from active public life in his final years, found that a less formal and more private setting allowed him to enjoy pursuits that had always interested him, such as reading, outdoor activities, and reflection away from the relentless spotlight. Princess Anne's comments have given the public a rare glimpse into the practical side of these arrangements. For many decades, speculation about their living situation was rife, with rumors swirling about potential conflicts, personal disagreements, or deeper marital strains. Yet those who personally knew them repeatedly hinted that their relationship was as firm as ever, built on respect, shared humor, and mutual admiration. Evidently, a measure of independence was something both valued in their marriage. That sense of autonomy does not necessarily indicate problems. Rather, it can be seen as the product of two strong-willed individuals who learned to negotiate the demands of their station in life over many decades. The difference here is that Princess Anne's perspective carries weight and credibility. She observed her parents' relationship intimately and has always had a reputation for forthrightness and honesty. Her stance on the matter seems to revolve around emphasizing her parents' shared devotion, while also explaining why they made the choice to maintain separate living quarters when it was suitable. The concept of independence within a marriage might seem unusual to some, particularly those who expect couples, especially those in positions of high public profile, to present a unified front at all times. However, the monarchy has long been a balancing act between tradition and modernity. In earlier generations, royals typically inhabited vast palaces or multiple residences. Even when they spent time under one main roof, the size and structure of these homes allowed individuals large swaths of private space. Over the years, with the public's increasing attention and technological advancements in media coverage, members of the royal family have had to weigh tradition against personal well-being. Prince Philip's decision to retire from public duties was a major shift in how the monarchy presented itself. It removed one prominent figure from the center stage, even though he remained a beloved public figure. While some might have expected him to stay close to the late Queen in a single unified household, the reality was that he sought the more relaxed environment afforded by a quieter residence. This arrangement, it seems, brought him comfort and the opportunity to continue certain pursuits without the ceaseless oversight that comes with an official royal dwelling. Some watchers of the crown might wonder how a couple that represented the solidity of the monarchy could reconcile living apart for extended periods. Yet those glimpses of them together at certain times, still laughing and supporting each other, suggest that their bond remained strong. They were deeply intertwined through a lifetime of shared service, travels, familial joys, and sorrows. The new information from Princess Anne emphasizes the idea that a strong marriage can take different forms when faced with highly unusual pressures. This arrangement was not about ignoring tradition or creating controversy. It was more about adjusting to changing circumstances as they aged. The late Queen understood and respected Prince Philip's inclination for personal space and a pace of life that suited his disposition in his advanced years. In turn, he continued supporting her in quieter ways, ensuring she could rely on his counsel and companionship whenever needed. Implications of this revelation extend beyond a simple question of living quarters. For many who look to the royal family as bastions of conventional values, the notion that personal well-being might outweigh outdated perceptions of how a royal couple should live is rather modern. Princess Anne's explanation echoes this shift in thinking within the institution. She has often championed a more straightforward approach, unafraid to articulate practical realities. By highlighting the reasons her father chose a simpler, more low-key setting, she underscores how the monarchy has evolved with regard to personal freedom. Once, it would have been inconceivable for a prince consort to reside away from the monarch for any significant period. Now, such an arrangement is not only feasible, but is framed as beneficial for maintaining the emotional balance of the individuals involved. This touches on the broader theme of adaptation within the monarchy, an institution that has survived for centuries precisely because it has, however slowly, adapted to the times. This evolution also speaks to generational differences in how relationships are conducted and displayed. When Queen Elizabeth II first took the throne, the expectations for marital presentation were rigid. Public displays of independence might have been interpreted as problems in the marriage. Over the decades, as cultural norms shifted, it became more acceptable for high-profile couples to maintain separate interests, schedules, and even residences. Although the monarchy is often characterized by continuity with tradition, behind the scenes, members of the royal family have also absorbed contemporary ideas about personal autonomy. Princess Anne's description of her father's living choice confirms that the monarchy, for all its pomp and pageantry, does adapt to the needs of individuals. It was a realistic approach to an extraordinary situation, where the consort of a reigning monarch chose to spend his advanced years in a more private environment, while remaining accessible and supportive in the ways that mattered most. There is an inherent fascination in imagining how such a powerful couple communicates and maintains closeness over physical distance. The notion of daily routines, phone calls, shared meals on specific occasions, and the comfort of a well-established bond all come into play. People often romanticize the lives of royals without fully understanding that, at the core, these are human beings who require breathing room. Once individuals reach a certain stage in life, particularly after decades of public service, the desire for a quieter, less confined lifestyle can become paramount. This was likely what Prince Philip wanted. What makes Princess Anne's revelations so intriguing is her emphasis on how perfectly natural and mutually beneficial this arrangement became. Instead of breeding resentment or fueling conflict, it allowed both individuals to preserve their energy and focus on the aspects of life and duty that they considered most important. The event also raises interesting points about the broader structure of royal residences. Among the many palatial homes and estates, certain properties are known for their more relaxed atmosphere. For Prince Philip, the opportunity to live at a place where he could go about his day without the constant presence of staff and officials hovering may have been essential to his well-being. Reports have long suggested that he relished simpler routines and enjoyed managing certain tasks personally, such as cooking for himself or driving alone. Living apart from the Queen at times provided the setting that allowed him to do that without the formal trappings of court life. Meanwhile, the late Queen, with her responsibilities, was better served by remaining where she had immediate access to her private secretaries, government documents, and the ceremonial aspects of the monarchy's day-to-day functioning. Princess Anne's acknowledgement of these factors helps demystify what can sometimes feel like the aloofness of royal protocols. The monarchy might appear bound by tradition, but beneath that veneer exist personal relationships, real challenges, and genuine desires for privacy. An environment that might be comforting or manageable for one person can feel restrictive to another. There is a delicate dance between supporting one another and allowing each person to flourish as an individual. In many ways, that balance might have contributed to the longevity and stability of the marriage. Each partner recognized and respected the other's needs, including the need for occasional separation when it benefited their overall harmony. While it may be an unconventional notion for outsiders, it underscores the complexity of personal relationships at the highest levels of society. People who follow royal matters might also consider how this revelation affects perceptions of the family as a whole. The monarchy often represents a form of continuity that transcends generations. Yet each generation brings new perspectives. Princess Anne's willingness to share details that were once carefully guarded behind palace walls suggests that the current generation of royals might be more at ease illuminating aspects of their private lives. Such candor creates a sense of relatability, demonstrating that even the most prominent families face questions about balancing professional obligations with personal desires. It also reminds the public that marriage, even at the summit of royal life, is an ongoing negotiation between tradition, expectation, and individual needs. Those who found the separate living arrangement puzzling may now have a more comprehensive understanding of the logistics that drove such decisions. Over time, Prince Philip's roles changed dramatically. After decades of walking one step behind the monarch, officiating at ceremonies, meeting dignitaries, and making speeches, a quieter life held strong appeal. Some might ask whether this arrangement was purely about rest, or if it also mirrored Prince Philip's independent nature. By all accounts, he was not someone who was entirely comfortable with endless formality and had always valued pursuits that allowed him a sense of agency, whether it was carriage driving, designing various projects, or managing personal routines that suited his lifestyle. The broader implications of these revelations indicate that senior members of the royal family, historically expected to remain in lockstep, have found ways to adapt. This willingness to be flexible ensures that individuals can sustain a long life in the public eye without sacrificing their personal contentment entirely. The monarchy depends on the health and stability of its key figures. If Prince Philip had insisted on staying in the Queen's central residence against his preferences, it might have led to strain or frustration that could affect how he carried out his supportive role. By allowing him this space, the late Queen reinforced her partnership with him. Their bond evidently thrived on understanding and trust, qualities that are equally relevant in any marriage but often complicated by the scale of royal responsibilities. For many, there is a certain poignancy in imagining how these separate spaces allowed each figure moments of solitude. Over the course of a life together that saw them endure wars, coronations, children, grandchildren, and countless state visits, they evolved from a young royal couple in the aftermath of conflict to the monarchy's oldest active participants. They witnessed immense shifts in global politics, technology, and societal expectations. A marriage of that length naturally goes through various phases. Perhaps the final phase for Prince Philip was to find respite in a simpler routine, free from the daily bustle that inevitably surrounds the reigning monarch. Princess Anne's comments suggest there was a shared acceptance of this path. Far from being a sign of distance, it might have reflected their confidence in the strength of their union. The cultural fascination with royal lifestyles stems from their intersection of time-honored custom and the basic human experiences of love, companionship, and personal identity. Although the monarchy's traditions can seem rigid, individual members have always introduced changes based on their own perspectives. In her remarks, Princess Anne offered a glimpse into this dynamic. She described circumstances that allowed Prince Philip to remain himself, retaining the independence of spirit that characterized his entire life, even as he supported the Queen through her countless official duties. The monarchy, in that sense, can be thought of as a broad umbrella, under which each member carves out a role that suits their temperament and abilities. This approach ensures that no one is forced into a mold that conflicts with who they are at heart. Such an arrangement, of course, has broader implications for how future consorts may approach their roles. The monarchy is increasingly open to the idea that individuals might want to continue personal interests or step away from particular responsibilities when they become too burdensome. For those who see the institution as rigid, Princess Anne's statements challenge that assumption. The monarchy can adapt, as it did for Prince Philip. If a separate residence or reduced load of engagements is in the best interests of the royal figure, that path might be seen as acceptable, so long as it does not undermine the central function of the crown. Another angle to consider is how personal revelations from a senior royal like Princess Anne shape public opinion and discourse. People are eager for authenticity, especially in an era when social media and digital news cycles demand constant updates. While the monarchy has historically relied on mystique, there has been a growing acceptance that a certain level of openness can actually strengthen public support. The monarchy's role in national identity often hinges on the public's sense of familiarity and affection. By offering insight into personal decisions such as Prince Philip's living arrangements, the family underscores that they too navigate the complexities of relationships. This authenticity can engender sympathy and understanding, bridging the gap between people's own lives and those of the royals. It is worth reflecting on the ways that these revelations might have changed the narrative around Prince Philip as well. He was often perceived as a somewhat brusque figure, known for his direct manner and occasional off-the-cuff remarks. Yet behind that exterior was someone who dedicated his life to supporting his wife's reign and to various charitable endeavors. He also treasured his autonomy. The arrangement to spend time at a quieter residence likely allowed him to maintain that sense of self even after formally retiring from royal duties. Hearing that perspective from Princess Anne highlights the compassion that existed within the family for his situation, an acknowledgement that an individual's personal contentment can coexist with unwavering commitment to the monarchy. Those who look deeper into these circumstances will find a striking balance between tradition and individual choice. The monarchy, in many ways, is about continuity, the line of succession, the passing on of titles, the consistent performance of state functions. Yet behind the scenes, there are people living daily lives, people who get older, whose needs and desires evolve over time. Princess Anne's explanation reminds observers that there is room within the institution for adaptation when it helps preserve the well-being of key members. After all, when someone who has been at the heart of royal life for so long seeks a measure of solace away from the center, it is not a betrayal of duty but an adjustment to new realities. There is also a dimension of respect for the late Queen, who granted her husband this freedom without public drama or scandal. Some spouses might have felt abandoned or become concerned about how it might look if they did not remain side by side at all times. Yet she evidently appreciated that Prince Philip's unique character deserved consideration. Over time, a partnership that endures decades tends to cultivate a deep respect for each other's wishes, especially when they remain committed in all the ways that matter. The living arrangement, as described by Princess Anne, showcases a nuanced form of marital unity that many people in the wider world can learn from, even if they do not share the same extraordinary position. That unity continued through shared milestones and family events. Prince Philip would still appear at major family gatherings, stand alongside his wife during key ceremonies, and stay involved in the events that merited his presence. However, when official duties did not demand his attendance, he had the liberty to retreat to a more tranquil environment. This fluid approach highlights the monarchy's understanding that not every moment in later life must be bound by ceremonial constraints. Perhaps this adaptability is what allowed him to remain an active presence for as long as possible, able to join in on occasions that truly mattered rather than being drained by a relentless schedule that no longer fit his stage in life. Questions about whether this sets a precedent for future royal couples naturally arise. There is no single template for how a reigning monarch and consort should conduct themselves personally. Each reign carries its own rhythms, shaped by global events, societal expectations, and personal temperament. Princess Anne's explanation, however, does indicate that the monarchy can endorse a variety of personal solutions, especially if it ensures that important ceremonial and representational responsibilities are carried out properly. The way Prince Philip and the late Queen handled their arrangement might serve as a blueprint for others who face similar dilemmas about balancing personal needs with institutional demands. Some might focus on the romantic aspects, wondering if living apart diminishes affection. Yet the testimonies from those close to them suggest that affection was never in doubt. Their shared experiences, humor, and mutual reliance were legendary within royal circles. Through Princess Anne's revelation, it becomes clearer that space did not indicate a breakdown, but rather a mature accommodation. Their love story was always intertwined with duty, but it also had a personal dimension that many found endearing. Living apart at times might have strengthened their appreciation for one another, allowing them to reunite with renewed energy. Media outlets often tried to interpret their separate living arrangement in salacious terms, but the new information helps dispel rumors of tension. Instead, it underscores the complexities of a partnership lived out on the global stage. The monarchy has to maintain a delicate balance between openness and privacy. Princess Anne's remarks, while shedding some light, are still measured. They point to a functional and thoughtful approach, without delving into sensationalism or speculation about interpersonal drama. In examining the broader cultural significance, one sees how this insight from Princess Anne resonates in a world where relationships are increasingly dynamic. Many contemporary couples, for instance, talk about separate bedrooms, separate interests, or even separate properties if resources permit. The reasons often have to do with personal comfort, mental well-being, or career demands. Though the monarchy sits atop a centuries-old framework, it cannot remain entirely insulated from contemporary shifts in relationship norms. Princess Anne's explanation affirms that even the royal family navigates similar questions about how to foster both a supportive partnership and individual freedom. The gravity of Prince Philip's contributions to the monarchy also merits attention. He engaged in numerous public roles, supporting youth and education initiatives, championing environmental causes, and working with various charities. This involvement stretched over the majority of his adult life. Once he reached an advanced age, withdrawing to a more peaceful setting might have been essential for recuperating from the rigors of decades spent in service. The late Queen likewise had a demanding schedule she continued to fulfill. Each person carried out what was expected of them, but that did not mean they needed to remain in perpetual proximity. The arrangement they reached harmonized their different capacities, ensuring both could continue in the manner that felt right to them. Some individuals might reflect on this situation as a testament to the couple's self-awareness and mutual respect. Marriage is a fluid institution, and over a long span, the dynamics can evolve multiple times. The fact that the late Queen and Prince Philip found a solution that was not bound by strict tradition, yet still upheld the dignity of the crown, speaks to their adaptability. One can imagine the many private conversations they must have shared, assessing the benefits and drawbacks of living separately part of the time. Such a decision, while seemingly straightforward, carried symbolic weight, as it broke from older expectations about the need for constant visible unity. Yet they never truly lost that unity, as evidenced by the warmth people observed whenever they were in each other's company. For onlookers, there was always curiosity. Now, the explanation provided by Princess Anne has given that curiosity a credible resolution. The reasons were indeed practical, personal, and reflective of the stage in life they had reached. There was no scandal or animosity, just a recognition of human needs. It is significant that this clarification came from Princess Anne, rather than remaining confined to the realm of rumor and tabloid coverage. Her clarity reinforces the notion that sometimes the simplest explanation is the closest to reality. While the immediate event revolves around the reasons Prince Philip did not live with the late Queen, the implications reach into how people perceive the royal family's approach to personal choice. It shines a light on how traditions can be subtly reshaped by those within the institution. Such changes might not always be broadcast or championed openly, but they occur as the family negotiates a balance between expectation and personal well-being. The monarchy's public image relies on continuity, yet its survival often depends on updating archaic models to fit modern sensibilities. Prince Philip's separate living arrangement represents one of those quiet evolutions. The revelations also prompt a deeper understanding of the roles played by other family members. Princess Anne, having always been regarded as pragmatic and straightforward, took a step that elucidates the complexities behind royal life. She presumably recognized the public interest in this question, and by addressing it in a matter-of-fact manner, she has given fans of the monarchy a richer appreciation of her parents' dynamic. It is a reminder that behind the formal attire, titles, and ceremonies, family bonds involve the same mix of compromise, respect, and shared experiences that define relationships everywhere. For many, the idea of the late Queen alone in a large palace while Prince Philip enjoyed a quieter life elsewhere might seem odd, yet it also resonates with the reality that older couples sometimes adapt by giving each other space. The demands on a monarch are unrelenting, and the demands on a consort, though slightly different, can still be immense. By structuring their lives in a manner that allowed each to function at their best, they exemplified a form of partnership that emphasizes emotional understanding over rigid adherence to how things have always been done. Thus, the significance of Princess Anne's revelation lies not just in satisfying public curiosity, but in highlighting how this couple navigated the complexities of monarchy and marriage. It invites people to consider that even an institution so seemingly beholden to protocol can allow for flexible personal arrangements when they serve the greater good of the individuals involved. The monarchy survived, and so did the love story, precisely because both were willing to accommodate changing needs. The portrayal of their separate living arrangement as a byproduct of practicality and mutual respect offers a window into the quieter facets of their bond. The event resonates with anyone who has juggled professional demands and personal contentment. Even if few people can relate directly to royal obligations, the concept of carving out personal space in a long-term relationship is universally understandable. Princess Anne's perspective adds a dimension of empathy and clarity to what had previously been the subject of endless conjecture. People can see that this was not a matter of distance born from conflict, but distance chosen for well-being and longevity, a means of preserving their strength to fulfill their respective duties. At its core, this revelation reaffirms the humanity of the monarchy and shows how fundamental considerations of comfort and personal preference can be navigated even in a world defined by formality. Questions might still linger for some about whether any tension existed, but the emphasis from those close to the family has invariably been that Prince Philip's separate residence arrangements were understood and accepted. The late Queen's role required her to stay firmly rooted in the traditional seat of power, managing the ceaseless flow of official business. Meanwhile, Prince Philip had earned the freedom to shift his focus to those parts of life that gave him pleasure or allowed him to maintain his own sense of identity. That arrangement would not have thrived without the deep-rooted trust that existed between them. It was only because they had spent decades forging a partnership based on loyalty and shared duty that such a decision could be made without undermining their unity. As more people reflect on what Princess Anne disclosed, a broader appreciation for the intricacies of royal life emerges. It is easy to see palaces, crowns, and global tours and assume that everything is shaped by tradition alone. Yet the personal choices made within that structure can be just as telling. Allowing Prince Philip to find solace in a quieter setting did not detract from the monarchy's dignity. If anything, it reinforced that personal well-being can bolster an institution by keeping its key members content and functional. The monarchy endures because it accommodates these realities without making them into public spectacles. Princess Anne's role in clarifying the matter shows that the family can address such questions when the time is right, in a manner that is neither evasive nor sensationalized. Thus, the reasoning behind Prince Philip's living apart from the late Queen, as recently illuminated by Princess Anne, rests on a foundation of practicality, respect, and an evolving definition of royal life. Their marriage stands as a testament to the idea that companionship can take many forms, especially under the weight of immense public duty. The revelation underscores the adaptability at the heart of an institution often deemed unyielding. For those who admired the couple, these details add texture to their enduring story, emphasizing that even the grandest figures can find solace in personal space, and that real love sometimes grows strongest when both partners have the freedom to pursue their own paths. In that sense, the event and its implications weave together the timeless themes of devotion, tradition, and personal independence. It becomes clear that the monarchy's survival over centuries is not just about pomp and ceremony, but about real people finding real solutions to challenges that come with a life in the spotlight. Princess Anne's words point to a respectful, flexible, and ultimately affectionate partnership. The late Queen and Prince Philip clearly navigated the line between duty and individuality, offering a perspective that remains valuable to anyone seeking to understand how monumental roles and personal fulfillment can coexist. In reflecting on all this, many find renewed admiration for both Prince Philip's sense of self and the monarchy's capacity to accommodate those it encompasses, revealing the depth beneath a tradition-laden institution and demonstrating that behind all the grandeur lies a family adapting, learning, and supporting one another through the changing tides of life. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Princess Anne revealing why Prince Philip didn't live with the Queen? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.